Hi, good afternoon, members of the Malaysian Dutch Business Council and guests and friends of the MDBC community. My name is Marco, and on behalf of the MDBC team and out of the MDBC office, during Malaysia's Recovery Movement Control Order, I welcome you this afternoon from wherever you're logging in. For some of you, it might be good morning when you're logging in from the Netherlands, and we're also welcoming members from Malaysia, from Singapore, Indonesia, and Thailand. So great to have this opportunity to connect now with members spread to different places in the world. We thank you for joining us online, and at the same time, with at least another month to go in this RMCO, we would like to know how you currently feel. So here comes our first poll. How enthusiastic or desperate or composed are you for a next live networking event? You can select one of these answers. While you're figuring out how desperate you are, here's also a bit of a recap over the last few months. You've been offered a multitude of webinars over these past few months, a dozen from the MDBC and at least another dozen through our partnerships with, for example, Eurochamp Malaysia, NL in Business, the Netherlands Embassy, various members, and also through our regional network, the ASEAN Dutch Chamber Network. Strong focus has been on human resources because that was really necessary over these past months, but also on office facilities, the safe office, and the members for members, bringing back this classic to our membership community, bring them closer together and share market developments and insights and product knowledge. Of course, it's also a bit of a business pitch, as you will notice today, but as long as we can all benefit from it, especially if we can include some leaders in their respective fields, as is the case today with the topic mobility and connectivity. Before we start the webinar, let me quickly take you through a few of our house rules and announcements. Your mics and video cameras switched off throughout the session to avoid any disruptions to the speakers. Questions can be asked via the Q&A box. We intend to invite you live in the session to ask your question, if you have any. At the right time during the Q&A, you will receive a cue to unmute and engage directly with the speakers. We are pleased to announce that the speakers will make their presentations available, as far as I understand. And while we miss our live interaction, altogether we will make the most out of this online engagement by getting you, our audience, involved through polls and through the Q&A later. Okay, now on to our actual program. We proudly bring you 5 speakers and a moderator who are market leaders and experts, willing to share experiences and insights with you. In the opening slides, you have already seen the profiles of the speakers and the moderator, so I won't do any more introductions and straight out invite our moderator, MDBC Vice Chairman Remco Koster, to join me from Bali. Remco, are you in the session?
Yes, good afternoon, okay. Everybody. Sorry, my internet.
Slight delay from Bali, okay.
No, yeah, my internet just dropped. I thought, oh no.
That can happen online. Okay, good to have you here.
Yeah, and, welcome. Yes.
Let's together have a look at the results of our poll just now and see how eager our audience is to actually get back to live networking. Can we get the results, please? All right. Well, what I'm noticing compared to the last few weeks when we did the same poll with the same answers is the enormous drop at the third option. I'm doing just fine looking at you from my screen, now only has 5%. And yeah, of course, stay safe, ladies and gentlemen. The numbers the last few weeks have not been positive. But yeah, we try to get back to real networking, live networking, the sooner the better. What do you think?
The sooner the better was a bit higher, Marco. Last couple of times, so the increased new cases maybe influenced the September comment a little bit.
Exactly. Let's see if things are indeed getting better towards September. Let's hope so. Yeah. All right, Remco, you also wanted to kick off with a poll, I believe, to get some input from our audience on mobility and connectivity, which would be useful for the speakers. Okay, here we go. Go ahead and introduce your question.
Yes, so basically during the MCO, RMCO period, what have been the biggest business mobility and connectivity challenges for you? So basically you can select 2 out of these 6 questions. 3 have to do with connectivity and 3 have to do with mobility. Will be interesting to see what the biggest challenges have been.
All right, how are the answers coming in? No? All right, people, let's give you 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Adeline, can we see the result, please? Sometimes you see me looking to the side. Yes, we're in the boardroom at the MDBC office. We're all working on this webinar together. So it's on the technical side, it's a lot easier to work this way. All right, here are your answers.
Well, I think it's very interesting to see that that the inability to connect the clients in person, that's really by far the biggest challenge. So you can see that the Zoom that we're using, I think, goes a certain way, but doesn't replace personal, in-person face-to-face meetings. I think inability to travel, yeah, that's another big one, and the rest seems to. It's good to see that people are working from home quite well. It's interesting to see also that, that there's been challenges with teamwork and communication. So yeah, that will be interesting feedback for the speakers today. Yeah,
and also feedback for us for potentially upcoming events, whether it's under the HR forum or whether it's again in the members members sphere. All right, Remco, over to you and to run it from here in the next 50 minutes. Have fun.
Yeah,
everybody.
Thanks, Marco. I had, as I said, after my small internet scare just now, let's hope it all stays on. Yeah, I said I want to welcome everybody to this Members for Members webinar. It's again very different, of course, than an in-person seminar about mobility and connectivity. We're doing this webinar because of popular demand. We've done some surveys over the past webinars that we've done. Mobility and connectivity was the top topic that people were interested in. It's also, of course, a very relevant topic during these challenging and interesting times. And for me personally, for people that don't know me, I'm Remco Koster. I'm board member and vice chairman of the MDBC, also ExCo member of EuroChair Malaysia, formerly known as the EUMCCI. I usually call this my evening job. My day job is I'm Chief Commercial Officer of Silver Street. One of my colleagues will be speaking as well, which is a global connectivity provider. And today I'm excited to welcome 5 speakers from various different companies from Silver Street, my colleague, Standard Chartered, Sam Media, Firefly, and Google PageRank 1 SEO. Lot of variety of topics. I hope it covers the interests that people have. And without further ado, I would like to pass the floor to my colleague Bart Groot-Roesink to talk about SMS marketing and online security. Bart, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Remco. Very kind introduction, and yeah, I'm looking forward to provide more information in the coming 10 minutes. So let me share my screen. And so I would like to welcome everybody and thank you for joining the seminar. In the coming 10 minutes, we will go over the following topics. We'll explain a little bit more about Silver Street as a company, why use SMS for marketing, a use case, how do you get started. Also to have a quick look at your IT environment, how secure is it, and why should you use two-factor authentication. Again, integration is easy, but not as easy as blasting an SMS marketing campaign. So Silver Street was incorporated in the Netherlands in 1999, and from a one-man show catering to domestic clients only, Silver Street has expanded internationally while serving over 3,000 customers, basically from all over the world. Silver Street is an equal employment opportunity provider, which then translates into having, at this point, around 12 nationalities and 17 spoken languages in our offices. Hold on. So why SMS as a marketing tool? I created a small, a little use case example. Most people in Malaysia are pretty familiar with Mydin. It's a big retailer. does close to $1 billion in annual revenues. And they reached out to Silver Street as they were facing some issues connecting to their client base, to their customers, using their traditional promotion channels, which was mainly email at the time. They were looking for an additional channel that would translate into fast, but at the same time cost-effective, and not being too intrusive as well. Since they had a large number of mobile phone numbers and opt-in acknowledgement from their customers, where opt-in is very important. Otherwise, you would be spamming, and most of the time it doesn't really work out well in the marketing campaigns. But again, they had opt-in acknowledgement, so SMS really seemed to be the way to go for them. So after 2 weeks, Myden was ready, setting up their systems internally and having their marketing meetings internally about what they were going to do. They started using the Silver Street mobile communicator to send out their personalized messages to their customers. This was the first time for them to use SMS as a mass marketing tool, having complete control of the environment by themselves. So they were really excited. They had high expectations, and as you can see here, they did achieve an increase in sales, an increase in members over the festive season, loyalty card, and an increase in membership. So luckily, Silver Street met all their expectations, and then some. Before using the Silver Street communicator, they had to email Excel sheets with phone numbers and names and the messages, etc., to their service provider. They would upload it into their systems, and they would send back and forth test messages, which was really time-consuming and rather difficult. And basically, what it ended for Myden is that they were all of a sudden able to set up a campaign to, for example, 38,000 mobile phone numbers, draft a message in the Silver Street communicator, match the names to the mobile numbers, and all of a sudden they could send out an SMS blast on Friday afternoon for their weekend sales promotions. And having that functionality at the tip of your fingers, and knowing that out of those 38,000 receivers, 90% will actually read the message within 5 minutes, that's a pretty powerful tool. So how did they achieve this? Well, getting started with SMS using the Silver Street mobile communicator is really as simple as 1, 2, 3. You sign up, you import your data, and you send out personalized SMS messages. No IT or API integrations. Silver Street has built a comprehensive dashboard, as you can see here, with a very clean, modern, and minimalist design. And listening to my customers coming from companies similar to Silver Street, it is one of the most user-friendly interfaces in the industry today. It's not only user-friendly, it's also super easy. If you want to create a new list, 30, 60 seconds, and you are ready to go. Send out 10,000, 500, whatever, any number of personalized messages. Again, on a late afternoon for a dinner promotion or a weekend promotion that you have. Within 5 minutes, it's all set and ready to go. So of course, I can give a lot more examples, but time is limited with 10 minutes, so I'm going to move on to another subject. How secure is your IT environment? If you look at those numbers from Cybersecurity Malaysia, you can see that the increase is quite alarming, and it's no longer only the big guys, as you can see here, Celcom, Digi, TuneTalk, U-Mobile, etc., that are being targeted. There is also a huge increase on SMEs and even smaller companies. So Two-factor authentication is a service that is offered by Silver Street as well. And one of the scenarios that a lot of companies could face is that hackers are starting to target your employees' email addresses with brute force hacking technologies. They can still do this. And let's say they have access to an older email address from a part-timer or anything like that that doesn't have active two-factor authentication set up. They can absorb more and more information through this email address. Maybe they get links to databases. They can get URLs to shared Excel sheets, etc., etc. And before you know it, your IT infrastructure is compromised. So it should also be said that by simply implementing 2FA, not all of your worries magically disappear, but at an entry level, it really does a great job in securing. So it is really simple. Silver Street has the Twizo Authenticate service. It might look a little bit difficult here, but let me try to explain it to you in one sentence. After signing up for Twizo's, for Silver Street's Twizo authentication service, your developer or developers get access to our API. They can generate the code from within the API and just copy paste it into the front or any type where they want to put the code at that point of time. Again, then we have various methods of authentication channels available, either voice, call, and SMS, to provide the tokens in order for people to get access to your or users to get access to your systems. So if you are looking for a reliable, cost-effective, or a local partner in Malaysia, but at the same time provides you with a global presence, to either start promoting your services among your customers, or you need a reliable delivery for last-minute updates that your customers actually read. So let's say you want to send out a notification about a gateway change or an address change or a delivery time change. Silver Street is always ready to assist and support you in that matter. And if you still have unprotected, easily accessible parts in your infrastructure, and you are looking for a way to secure them fast and cost-effective, in that case too, Silver Street is here to assist you and support you. Thank you very much for your time. If you have any questions or inquiries, please feel free to reach out to me. And I hope everybody will enjoy the rest of the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bart, for your insightful presentation. To the audience, I would like to repeat what Marco already put in the chat box. If there's any questions for any of the speakers, please put it in the Q&A box, and we'll discuss and we'll go through all these questions at the end of the session. Thanks very much, Bart.
You're welcome.
We'll see you again later.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks. Yes, I would like to introduce our second presenter of today. His name is Aizudin Danian. He's the head of digital banking of Standard Chartered, and he's here to talk about its digital journey. Without further ado, Aizudin, the floor is yours.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Hi. Can you see me? I guess so.
Yes, Aizudin, we can see you. Thank you. And your presentation is coming up right now too. Go ahead.
Fantastic. It's great to be here, and thank you so much for inviting me to speak. You know, it's wonderful to have a chance to connect, even though if it's over a Zoom call. You know, I probably was one of those people who said, you know, any connection is better than no connection in the poll question earlier before. What I'm going to do today is that I'm going to share with you a little bit about what's going on in the banking industry with regards to what the world is looking at we're still in the COVID situation here in Malaysia, but certainly we're optimistic and looking forward to a post-COVID environment as well. And at the beginning of my presentation, let me just assure you that in fact the world is changing with regards to banking. I'm speaking to you as retail banking customers. All of us have banking relationships of one form or another. But I'm also aware that the audience is made up of people who own and run businesses, in fact. And a lot of information I'll be sharing with you with regards to how your customers, right, would be interested to use banking services might also be relevant to you, because banks do act as a gateway between your businesses and your customers, for things like payments and whatnot. It will be very useful to see and to listen to how our customers, right, are responding to the world in the COVID situation. All right, let's move to the first slide first of all. As we move to the first slide, I'd just like to share, it was a very exciting proposition to me joining Standard Chartered 4 years ago. Basically, the way I was recruited was that they told me that it's a fantastic journey that Standard Chartered is going to be on over the next few years, because it was at that time where major global investments began flowing to digital banking, right? And it was a great opportunity for me to be a part of that. So on that basis, that's why I was very happy to join the bank. And I tell you, from the last couple of years, right, as you can see from the first slide, the results have been fantastic. Not just in the last few years, but certainly even more so, right, recently as we've gone into as the world has gone into COVID and we're coming out through the other side of the tunnel. Right, Standard Chartered traditionally has always had a fairly strong total active customer base with regards to online banking. At 60%, I think locally, that puts us as one of the most digitally penetrated banks in the country. And that actually didn't increase that much, right? So a bit of a caveat there. We've always been hovering around 50+%. So moving up to 60%, right, in the COVID scenario wasn't a huge jump. But what we did see a very large increased adoption is in our in digital servicing, and this is where we feel that there's been quite a bit more acceleration, right, in terms of what customers want, right? I think, and if they want this from banks, right, I think they want this from everyone, right? Let's take this as a bit of a proxy to what our customers are looking for. They want to be able to perform common services online, right? Because they are not able to walk to the branch anymore, or maybe they don't want to. Standard Chartered, although has been in the market for 145 years in Malaysia, as Malaysia's oldest bank, we don't have a very wide branch network, which is why our online banking presence has been so important. And because we've accelerated, we understand this about our customers. We've certainly accelerated the rollout of our digital servicing capabilities to our customers, which is then leading to that really big jump of 15% or more in terms of the number of services that customers are performing online today. I think in the last 4 to 6 weeks, it's actually been one of the most busy times for Standard Chartered, simply because nearly every weekend we're rolling out 2 or 3 new services that can be done online, which traditionally would have otherwise required the customer to either walk into a branch or contact us via our contact center. But now all of this can be done in the convenience of your mobile device via SC Mobile. It's
I should end. Sorry, do you already want your first poll? You wanted it at the beginning of your presentation?
Yeah, let's try that.
All right, let's do it now.
Let's look at what the first at the first poll. Here we go. I know what I'm going to answer.
Are you allowed to answer?
I am. It came up. But see, the thing is that and this is very much related to the poll. Our customers are loving it, all right? Because we also see it as an opportunity in order to gather quite a bit of positive net promoter scores, right? The sentiment is, the response has been fantastic so far. And again, this is something which is very useful, all right, for your businesses, right? The fact that we've taken that leap and done so much more online, all right? Customers are liking it. I'm sure in your respective businesses, if you did that as well, it's something that will be very useful for your customers too. All right.
So I think everybody had the opportunity to give an answer, and you'll be surprised what you're going to see right now. The results are coming up.
Let's look at the results. Wow, interesting. Very
We've never
interesting.
had something like that.
So I think there's certainly a great opportunity here, and for Standard Chartered, it's a very validating feeling for us, because of the investments that we've made, the roadmap that we put in place that started 4 years ago. It really is paying off now. So the second message I'd like to share with you is that we don't know what the future holds. All right, when we went down this path of digitalization 4 years ago, we didn't know where it was going to lead us, and certainly no one could anticipate something like COVID. But now that we're here, all right, it's really a great place to be, as I'll show you the next few slides as well. Can we move on to the next slide as well? Next slide, please. If we look at this second slide, it's again, these are things which I don't put them here to sell, so to speak. But it is what we do offer. Right? I'm not ashamed to say that. I'm very proud, in fact, of all these capabilities that we offer online. But it's more than that. It's what customers want. All right. I think gone are the days where banking was just a simple matter of transacting, paying your bills, making fund transfers and whatnot. Customers do expect the ability to do so much more now, and I'm very proud to say that Standard Chartered has been able to deliver these expectations, right? From digital wealth, the ability to participate in things like Smart Goals and Smart Direct, where you can actually set your goal yourself, right? Kind of like a stash away or a service which encourages savings, right? You can set a goal for yourself, and automatically you can put money aside every month in order to make those goals happen, right? Self-service requests. I was talking very, very much just now about the ability to perform self-service and the number of services that you can do online now without walking into a branch. Personalized marketing. I think this is a big deal here because banks, right? We actually know a lot about our customers, right? But we use that information in order to feed back to customers what's best for them. What's the next best thing that you should do, all right? And I think the ability to send personalized messages, right, through our phone actually is quite important as well. I'm actually getting a message. I don't have much time left. Click to chat, the ability to talk to our customers, and of course, the ability to open accounts, right, in real time is also something which our customers all appreciate right now. If you can move to the last slide. The last slide is something which I'm very proud of, and I think we're one of the first banks to be able to claim this. All right, 100% of all common banking services can now be performed online in a secure manner. All our requests are multi-factor authenticated. All right, it is convenient. It can be done at any time, and it is fully digital. All right, I'm not bluffing when you say you can do it online. It doesn't require you to start the process online, then finish it by phone call or go to the branch. You can actually do it completely online from start to finish. So understanding that this is what our customer needs, all right, from things like personal data management all the way to general inquiries and complaints, right? Everything can be done online now. And if I were to leave you with one message from my presentation is that I do urge everyone to explore how you can bring your business online to better connect to your customers, right? They do appreciate it, and as we can see from the experience that we've had, right, it actually helps you improve your relationship and your engagement with your customers, moving even beyond a post-COVID environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Aizudin, for your insightful presentation, and as I said, interesting results of the of the survey. 33% 3 times. As Marco said, I've not seen that. As said, and again, I repeat, if there's any questions, I saw one already being questioned in the Q&A panel. We will go through all the questions at the end of the session. I would like to announce the third speaker of today. His name is Jorg van Gaal. He's General Manager of SEM Media, and he will present how to have better virtual meetings with fun and playfulness. A little bit of a pre-announcement. Please get your phones ready to scan a QR code during Jorg's session, because Jorg will be using 2D barcodes in his session. So get your camera ready and get ready for Jorg van Gaal. Jorg, the floor is all yours.
Thank you. Sorry, you can see and hear me now, I hope.
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay, sorry. I was sharing my screen, but I forgot to turn on my sound. Yeah. Hi, everyone. So yes, my name is Jorg, and I work for a company called SEM Media. SEM Media is also in the online digital business. We create and distribute online entertainment products in about 41 countries throughout the world. We've been in Malaysia since 2006, and yeah, have our head office in Malaysia and also offices in Vietnam and Amsterdam. Today, actually, I would like to talk a bit about play and fun in a business environment, which is for many people maybe a new thing. And as Remco already announced, you see in your screen a QR code, and I would like to ask you people to scan that on your phone, and there you will find first poll. So we can do polls within Zoom, but there's also another tool called Mentimeter, where we can also do polls. And the first question is there: what does play mean to you? So there, please fill in a few things if you can, and I'll get back to that in a minute. So to go on, the digital reality. Yes, the main topic of today, and we know we are all here. This is the new standard. Has been accelerated through all the COVID challenges we have, but actually the technology has been ready for a long time already, and now, yeah, it was just a matter of time before this is the new standard, as I call it. So what is important that you know, the physical environment and the digital environment is different. Our meetings are different, so we need to focus on what works, and that does not mean copy paste some things we did before. So if we have a regular weekly meeting that even in person is already not too effective, if we copy the same online, it won't work. So we need to introduce some different aspects and components. And one of them that I want to talk about today is playful elements. So just to go back, I will be sharing my screen into different tools today. So it might be a bit of a roller coaster, but I hope you will be able to follow. So you can now see the results of what you just filled in the poll. So this is like a word cloud that just, you see, it's changing on the go as you are changing your answers. And this is what people, what you as attendees see as play. So mostly it's fun, sports, games, etc. Interesting. Back to my presentation. So that's one way to get things going. Another thing is, yeah, sounds interesting. Let's hunt. For this, it's also like an icebreaker to start a meeting, and I need a bit of your attention here and your energy. So I stop sharing my screen, and I would like to ask all the panelists to turn on their video, if possible. Because we're going to do a little game live. Marco, you're laughing. Yes.
All right. Do we already?
Anyone else who can open up their camera?
Audio as well, or only video?
Audio is not necessary because then it becomes too. Okay, I already see some nice faces. So some of you are familiar with a scavenger hunt in the physical world, but actually we can also do that online. So in that matter, what I can do, if I see a bunch of faces here, which I see, hello all of you, then I'm kindly asking you to get a few items. And maybe you find it a bit awkward running around in the office or at home. Also watch out that you don't hurt yourself. I don't have additional insurance for such a thing. But try to cooperate. And the first thing I would like to see is a water bottle. I see, that's an easy one. Huh? That's an easy one. So most people can relate to that. Okay, let's make it a little bit more difficult. What about, let's see who's healthier. What about a piece of fruit? Maybe Adeline could already prepare. What is that? It's like a fried pisang, Adeline.
Yes.
I see noodles there from Bart. Very nice. Philip, I see you don't prefer fruit at the moment. Oh, a chocolate bar there, Anna. Thank you very much. Okay, let's try one more thing before I move on. And the last thing is something you love or appreciate. Something or someone. I see Marco, his orange shirt, a phone from Remco. Oh, phone, phone, phone. I can't see Bart. What are you holding? I can't see because I think it's a tablet or a phone or something. Yeah.
Philip, are you holding a plane?
No. Okay, but no, yeah, very nice to see this engagement. So just as an example, you can actually do this. I've been part of this where we do this with about 50 or 60 or even 80 people. If people are cooperative, you have to spend a little bit more time in explaining what you are expecting from them. Then you can do this like in a nice Zoom environment. So at least a little bit of the experience there. I'm going back to sharing my screen again, my PowerPoint.
So we can stop our video?
Yes, sorry, you can stop your audio and video.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Thanks.
Yes. And we are back to my PowerPoint. Then actually our intention was to share another small introduction video about another tool called Miro, which is an online whiteboard and interaction tool. That video will still be shared after this session, but I can just give you a glimpse of how it looks. And for that, again, I would like to show you my screen. And this is for some, maybe you've seen it before. It also, somebody told me it looks like Google Jamboard, which is like a similar tool. But this thing is called Miro. It's quite well known. And yeah, like a whiteboard, you can put different things on it and you can use it in various ways. So for example, I put my presentation here, at least some of the slides. So let's say if I have to make a more complicated presentation, I can shift around a bit or a bit with a mock-up and yeah, share it or complete it later. Another thing, what it's been used for quite a lot is, let's say if you have like a workshop or a longer event, and most of the time we send surveys afterwards, but yeah, you know, not everybody is willing to fill that in. So for example, you could also do it real time online. So just to be clear, in this Miro, everyone would have access, ideally, and is able to move things around. So is able to pick a note and add their tips or tricks or feedback or whatever you want. And it becomes a very nice, colorful part of it. And the beauty is you can do it within your longer session. So you don't need to ask people afterwards. And you can even introduce another session to discuss this more. If you would like to go a little bit more personal, then you can actually also go a bit deeper by introducing something called moods. You see here a picture of different characters, sitting, jumping, whatever. So what I've done before with a bunch of people is I asked them, okay, you pick a character. What is your current vibe? How do you feel? And it's very interesting to hear people explain about why they feel great, why they feel like studying, why they feel like reading. Some people don't want to open up, also fine. But it also creates a bit of a nice vibe in a team environment. There's more things to do here. I even include an example for friends. It's a different example. Also, just you see some funny pictures. You could pick one and afterwards let people explain what it's all about. So just Miro in a nutshell. It has many more options and possibilities, but stick to this for now. that's my role. So what I already said, it's a bit of a collaboration tool, feedback, questions, and you can even go deeper while introducing moods, fun, a bit of play into it. Then we can go back to our poll. I hope you still have your mobile phones in your hand. Actually, you should just use the same thing you used before, and it should show a different screen now. And with the question, how do you play? So feel free also to answer that question on your phone while I continue and finalize my presentation. So since we only have 10 minutes, I have limited time to share different tools with you. As you can imagine that there's lots of different things available. We are not just restricted to physical cooperation. There's lots of things we can do online as well. And I put a list of resources here. There's different icebreakers, which you can find on some of these websites. One thing I can mention in particular, if people would be really interested to get more into this and even like become a facilitator or do this for their own company or in their own teams, have a look at Play 14, which is a very interesting network of motivators, speakers, facilitators, scrum masters that use different forms of play in their projects and different business activities. Also YouTube channel for some videos. I am connected to this funny looking man with the YouTube channel, The Magic Sauce, but he has lots of interesting videos that can teach any one of us. So with that, I think my time is up and I would like to leave it. And if there are questions, we can address them later. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jorg. I heard your phone already ring in the background to remind you of the time. Very good, very efficient. It's great to see a lot of fun options because Zoom is only Zoom. I think it's great to see additional tools that are available to make it more fun, break the ice, and get people into the right mood. To go into a very productive meeting. So thanks very much, Jorg. And as I said, we'll come back to you at the end with Q&A. I would like to introduce our fourth speaker for today. Is Philip C., CEO of Firefly, and he's here to talk about keeping connected, which I think a lot of people will be interested in flying in these difficult times. So Philip, the floor is yours.
Very good, thank you. Very good afternoon, guys. So nice to be here. Thank you for that introduction. As many of you know, Firefly is an airline. And honestly, we are really in the business of connectivity, right? Literally, we are the airline that basically connects and drives people and moves people from one point to the other. But ironically, if you listen to all the 5 speakers, I think we are the business that's been the most affected by COVID. And so today, I just want to tell you a bit about what we are trying to do to basically build on that mobility and connection from 3 perspectives. One, from a strategy standpoint, the second, from an operational standpoint, and the third, from a people standpoint, because we are a service people and our people are critical in delivering that service. So really, I think Firefly is a small airline. If many of you in Malaysia know, we are a corporate and business focused airline. People love us for one real key reason, which is time. We have a great schedule. We do multiple flights a day. We basically operate from Subang Sky Park, so door to door in any place around Peninsular Malaysia under 2.5 hours. And really, we work very hard in on-time performance, which is close to 90–95%. But the issue and strategy we have in the business is that in the past, we've been so reliant on corporate, but as many of you know, technology has really shifted that paradigm. And so if you look on the top left picture, the real strategy shift we've had to make is that how can we move towards leisure and drive towards a more leisure kind of focused strategy. And a lot of the work and time we're doing now is doing that quick repivot away from just focusing on corporate to also driving more leisure customers. And that means improving our Firefly Holidays product, driving interesting services, pushing more tourism inspired themes and images So I think that's something that's really core part to our strategy, right? How do we basically rebalance the portfolio from just being only a pure business airline to now even moving towards a more leisure-focused piece? That's the top left. The other top right part, which is a very key part of our strategy, is while our core focus is to be an airline that connects communities, we have to diversify our business. And actually, over the past 1 year, we've actually grown our maintenance, repair, overhaul. So we really are becoming a specialist in maintaining and repairing our ATRs. And we're beginning to do that for other airlines around the world, especially in Asia Pacific. And we even do pilot training for other airlines as well, especially in Korea. So that's what we do on the top right, diversifying our business to also do maintenance, repair, and overhaul work. Now, on the bottom left, while our customers could not meet each other physically, we actually launched a new product, which was Firefly Express, which was an airport pickup and delivery service, a kind of a mini courier where you could deliver your food items, your clothing, your goodies to your loved ones if you could not meet them in person due to the lockdown. So this was a very interesting relaunch and product we did during the MCO, because that's what customers were really looking for. How do we connect but still show our love to our loved ones by basically delivering parcels and services across the board? So this was a new product we launched during the MCO. And on the bottom right, we really worked very hard to push our mobile app. And that's a really important strategy for the business, because moving forward, I don't think we are moving away from our reliance from travel agents and even normal web laptop. I think our customers are shifting towards mobile. So a lot of investment is done in basically improving mobile connectivity and mobile solutions for our customers. If you go to the next slide, this is strategy. On the next slide, on operations, we've kept it really simple because I think there are a lot of people who are worried about flying. So we have focused on flying safe, S-A-F-E, S, sanitize, A, basically be aware of your surroundings, F, wear your face mask, and E, electronic documents. So that's something we really work very hard to basically communicate a very simple and safe message to our customers, right? And on the right, you see we as an airline, as part of Malaysia Aviation Group, and work very hard to maintain essential services throughout MCO. So we're really proud to be the only airline to operate actually throughout the MCO. And so a lot of our work is to still provide that essential connectivity during tough times. On the bottom left, the business is really focused on just driving a lot more new products. And that's something that's very key. And on the left, you see Fly Infinite is our new product where we basically drive flexibility, where customers can actually change and modify their bookings with no extra charge. And on the top and the bottom right, a lot of work is to communicate all the work we do in trying to create a safe environment, which is we disinfect our aircraft every night. And if you go to our website, you'll see a lot of videos about how the airport experience looks like and how we in the business really try and keep all of you safe. Yeah. If you go to the next slide, but we can't do all this if we don't have the people, right? And so what we do is that we actually keep it very strict, and even operationally while we serve customers, our crew and frontliners, from cabin crew to pilots to engineers to ground ops, have to be safe. So we take great pains in making sure that their operating environment is safe, because we want them to feel comfortable to serve you as customers. Right? And that's a really important part. And on the bottom right, employee engagement is super critical. And I can assure you, when we were going through our lockdown, I was personally engaging our staff nearly every day, because there were so many concerns about job security, how are we operating in this environment. And I think it's really important in this time to get a dipstick and survey about how your customers are doing, right? And on the bottom left, working very hard in creating a safe and efficient way for you to work from home. And so basically in the current situation, we all now mostly work from home, although we now have a team working arrangement, alternate between A and B for our staff. And as I said just now on the bottom right, we have town halls virtually every week during the MCO, because we as an airline need to basically lift the spirits of our 650 crew and employees. And that was a really important piece to do, because we are in the service business, and if we can't drive and get our own internal staff connected, if we can't get our own people mobilized and engaged to move forward, it's going to be very hard for us to stay relevant and be dynamic in these very tough times. So really, I think that's all I would like to say about what we are trying to do in these really tough times. For us, we are really proud to be part of MAG, Malaysia Aviation Group, and we are taking all efforts to diversify the business, but really push towards engaging customers very differently in the future. So that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Philip. I'm sure the whole audience, I speak for the whole audience, that we're all looking forward to flying a lot and traveling a lot. Cuti Malaysia is very popular. So thanks for that, Philip, and let's hope things get back to normal or close to normal as soon as possible. I would like to introduce the fifth speaker for today. His name is Jaap Snoek Henkemans of Google PageRank 1C SEO, and he will talk about SEO for post-lockdown business growth. So what can you do with SEO for post-lockdown business growth? Jaap, the floor is all yours. Let's see. Yes, you're still on mute, Jaap. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, yeah, we can hear you. We can see you and hear you.
Okay, cool.
Thanks, Jaap. The floor is all yours.
So yeah, my name is Jaap, which is a telltale sign that I'm from Holland, but I go by the name of Jacob around here because answering the phone with Mr. Jaap makes people think that I'm Chinese. I have been living in Malaysia for nearly 10 years now. I started my SEO business 8 years back, and I would like to start sharing my screen if possible. Wait.
Yeah, you also had a poll, I believe.
Oh, but I don't, yeah, there is a poll, but I thought you would take care of it.
Yeah, I think the poll, let's see, when do you want to do the poll? Right now? Well, it's on there now.
No, when I'm finished, please.
Oh, when you're finished, okay. Okay, well, let's put it down, put it up later then.
Okay, well, because of the nature of my work, working on websites for many companies across many business industry sectors, I've gained quite an intimate knowledge, about quite some intimate knowledge about all businesses and their inner workings. And although the COVID-19 pandemic is obviously the worst global disaster since the Spanish flu, for my work, however, this period provides a wealth of new insights on how some businesses cope or could cope with this new reality. My presentation, therefore, is useful to businesses that are seeking for new approaches to increase their revenue. And I can tell you that search engine optimization should be very high on your list. In my presentation, I will walk you through some examples of current and former SEO clients to underscore my point. What you see here are website traffic graphs as measured from November 1 till yesterday from two different types of business. One is a bus charter agency, which obviously was shut down because of COVID and travel restrictions, whereas the other is an online shop of this disgusting drink called kombucha, but it's very hot in Singapore. So you see here that during the circuit breaker in Singapore, their business spiked. And I did this SEO for them during their startup phase, and now they have a full-fledged factory in place to meet the ever-growing demand. Another example here is not 100% COVID-19 related, because it's about a company that was deemed an essential service and was allowed to operate during lockdown. But the point I wish to highlight here, that since they had started a website in April 2018, it didn't generate any leads, nothing. So they still had to keep a sales force doing canvassing to generate leads, etc. Then recently I met the group at MD and we had a chat and we talked about SEO, and I happened to have my laptop with me, as I always have, and I showed him some results of current and previous customers. And he engaged me in January, and now the company is already on target as dictated by HQ in Singapore. And the next slide will show you, I mean, a picture speaks 1,000 words. And he actually said nice things about my work. Now let's move on to today's business case that I wanted to talk about. It's a wholesaler and distributor of exclusive booze in Malaysia. Well, you can understand that, well, what's funny is that starting MCO, their traffic spiked tremendously, whereas the place was in lockdown and people don't need wholesalers or distributors when they're sitting at home. But what they did, previously their business was just had exclusive contracts with all 5-star hotels in KL and all high-end pubs in Malaysia. Well, as you know, since tourism came to a halt and 5-star hotels are depending on mainly foreign tourists, and the high-end pubs that don't serve food are still closed as of today, their business completely stopped. But there are a bunch of smart and fast-acting guys, so they built an online retail store to still be able to sell their
All right, it looks like we lost Jaap. Jaap, are you still there?
online store.
Jaap is back, I think.
Oh.
All right, Jaap, please continue. All right, go ahead. Happy to have you back.
No, but since when was I gone?
It was about 20 seconds.
Oh, okay. Did you see this?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Well, halfway this slide.
Oh, okay. So their B2B just stopped. If you have 5-star hotels as clients and high-end pubs that don't serve food, then you have no business. But they build an online store, and I'm doing SEO both on their wholesale as on their new store website, and still working on it. But here's another slide that speaks 1,000 words. Here are the figures of their online store since the day they started. So they made over 1 million sales with this new online store. And the fact that there is a substantial amount of point of sale is because of the RMCO, where people can actually visit their brick and mortar warehouse, which they turned into a shop. How many minutes do I have?
I think probably about 2 or 3 up.
Okay. Then 2 more examples of people dealing with COVID. One was an online fitness, very smart platform that is also downloadable on smartphones, where you can just book your time, your location as a client, and connect with one of the coaches that are available on the platform. So when I first did SEO for them, I made them rank very high for personal trainer KL, which is extremely competitive. But of course, during lockdown, that didn't really work. So they asked me, can you tweak the SEO so we can rank high for online personal training? And everybody was doing online personal training. My wife was doing online yoga classes here at home, and it worked. So they kept in business. And now, with some exceptions of condos still not allowing personal trainers in their gym, they're back in business. The other one is a recent one, a big recruitment services group with offices in Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines, Japan, Thailand. But in Singapore, the unemployment versus vacancy rates is at a 10 years low. And they all only got inquiries from job seekers, which it didn't need because they needed employers so they could post new jobs. So I'm changing their SEO to rank higher for the typical searches that employers use rather than job seekers. If you actually Google recruitment agency Singapore, you see many results saying not for job seekers. Job seekers need not apply. So that's just to demonstrate how serious the situation in Singapore is. And it's starting to work. So I checked his job board and he already had much more new vacancies than when I started.
Thanks, Jaap. Sorry to interrupt. I think you're just finishing. Do you want to do your poll still?
Oh yeah, now that would be a good time.
Now would be a good time probably to put up the poll. So
yeah, I will stop sharing.
Yeah. Let's see. Yes, so we've done the poll. I think let's give people a little bit more time. Let's see, Marco always does a countdown from 10.
Yeah,
9.
this was the short one. So it's 2 and 1, and here are the results.
Oh, already? Okay, good, Marco,
Sure.
thanks. Where's the results? Ah.
Okay, that's promising.
Yeah, that is very promising. So there's a lot of business to be done.
There's still 47% to convince even further. Yeah, well, maybe with the Q&A, you can have some more persuasion there.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah, thanks very much, Jaap, for your insightful presentation. And I think we're running good on time. And I think now it's time to start the Q&A version of the Q&A part. I think everybody can switch on the video and audio, Marco.
Yeah, can we get all speakers back, please, for the Q&A? Thank you.
Can.
Yeah, so to start the Q&A, I think there was one answered question, but I think it's still good to start. A question from Ronald Schipper about banking. International transactions are still not possible online. You expect that to change? So,
well, thanks for the question. I did provide a quick reply on the Q&A portion as well. I think it depends on what transaction we're talking about. International transactions are always a little bit tricky because there are a lot of local regulations surrounding that. movement of money and etc. across borders is certainly a topic which is very closely monitored by Bank Negara Malaysia. So not every type of transaction is very straightforward to be done online, but I would say that for most common users, all right, it's not really an issue. For example, if you need to send money overseas to your son or your daughter who's studying in Australia or Singapore or the US, it's not a big deal. Or if you need to transfer funds to say buy a piece of property or whatnot, right? These are all doable online today, right? So there was not too much context in the question, so please forgive me if my response is a little bit general as well.
No, then maybe I have a little bit of a follow-up on that. I would be interested to see how you and Standard Chartered look at new players, like for example BigPay, that do have international transactions within, for example, the app. But I think in general, how is Standard Chartered looking at new players entering the marketplace?
Well, competition is always welcome, right? We keep each other on our toes. And as I said, for the most common purposes for fund transfers, all right, it's something which I would say most local banks and foreign banks, including Standard Chartered, do provide that service as well. I guess the difference will be in the details, things like rates, what is the exchange rate used, etc. That's where the differences will be, and just like everything else in life, that's where the competition is. So very happy to have open competition, in things like this, including fund transfers or overseas remittances.
Thank you very much. Marco, I think we have a question.
We have Ron, actually, we have Ron
Yes.
online. Maybe Ron, can you give Aizudin the feedback if he answered your question for you?
Sorry, yeah, I don't want to drag on this subject too long and too much, but my experiences with, for example, the Citibank is that if I want to transfer from my Euro account to my Ringgit account, which is an internal transfer, I have to go to the bank. I can't do that through the web. If I want to make an external transfer to somebody in Europe, I have to go to the bank. But maybe banks have indeed different procedures, although you also mentioned as long as it has something to do with a rate of exchange, that makes it a bit more cumbersome. Did I understand that correctly?
Sorry, if it has something to do with what? Sorry, regulatory?
If it has something to do with the rate of exchange, which is a regulatory issue from the Malaysian Central Bank, then you have to deal with the bank in person, not via the web.
There are more complications sometimes. For example, if you need to transfer, say, a significant amount of money overseas, you'll be required to get to at least notify and get Bank Negara's approval, right? In some scenarios.
Okay, clear.
Right. So
yeah.
yeah, that one is a little bit more.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Marco.
Oh, please thank Remco. He let you in.
Yeah, and also Ron,
of course.
Ron, you had a question as well about SEO.
Yeah.
So maybe this is a good time to. I saw Jaap already sent a little bit of an answer, but maybe Jaap could elaborate a bit more. What do you think?
It was a very interesting presentation because you made it very clear that the value you have been adding immediately reflected in turnover figures. What I would like to know is, could you give a few specific examples what you did in your changing the websites or the messages that led to that increase in business?
I can, but I think I can give you like 100 examples.
Okay, no, you don't have to, but you understand the gist of my question. You did something that increased the turnover significantly. And my question is, if you would give one or two examples of what you did and what was the trigger to this, that would be quite nice for the audience as well, I guess.
Okay. What's required is that not only your content is optimized in such a way that it answers the question that somebody Googles in the best possible way, because that's what Google is looking at, and that's what makes you rank high. But then you have to make tweaks to your website to actually turn those visits into conversions, in a sense that they fill out the contact form, that they WhatsApp you using the button on your website, any form of engagement that might lead to a sales conversion is actually what I'm aiming on. Just ranking high is okay, but if people click on the results and it's just a moi website that doesn't entice you to further browse it, then I wouldn't have done a good job. So I not just focus on Google rankings, but much more on how to improve conversions once people visit your website, so you can actually grow your business.
Okay, clear. Thank you.
Welcome, welcome.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks, Jaap. So basically, SEO is different than Google Ads, right?
Yes, it is. Google Ads has immediate effects. It's pay as you go. If you pay enough per click, it will get you on the top 4 Google Ads of search results. And the day you stop paying, you disappear. Whereas SEO takes longer to get those high Google results, but once it's done, then you stay there. So it's the best marketing investment that you can make. If you're really in a hurry, you have to do Google AdWords and SEO at the same time. So you already get the clicks from ads, whereas once the SEO kicks in, you can stop the ads, but will still be at the top.
Okay. Well, thanks very much for that answer, Jaap. Question for York, anonymous attendee. So we cannot get the person to ask you in person, but the question was, of course, it's fun to implement some kind of playfulness in an organization, but what if the team doesn't take it seriously and are not cooperative? What ways can we implement to strengthen the bond, is the question. Yep. York.
Yeah, so very good question. And of course, I already read it. And yeah, just to be clear, what I just presented now in a couple of minutes, that is usually what you could do like in a full day workshop or even a couple of days, and maybe not even all the tools you will use at the same time. So in order to use some of these tools, I would say it works best if you have like either external clients or a new project or a new team or a change initiative, something new. Like it would not, at least for me, it's also not that I use this like every week or every month in our company. It's more like at certain occasions you can use some of these tools. And you can start small, like for example, the poll questions. It's also already, to me, it's already a little bit of an example of making it more interactive, engaging your audience. So that, for example, you could start with. And you could make it more complex as needed. And then again, it depends on your audience. It depends on the company culture as well. And I'm quite sure in some organizations, it will be very difficult indeed to engage people and make them cooperate. So yeah, it requires a bit of planning and consideration before you get into it. But I do feel it's possible even in smaller teams. So yeah.
Thanks for that, Jorg. Maybe Philip, I think Firefly is quite a playful company. I think you had a couple of nice slides. I also saw a lot of faces in a Zoom screenshot. How are you doing things and keeping things playful?
Well, I think you have to find the right balance, because when we were having these conversations during MCO, I mean, our staff were really worried about the future of the business. So I think when you do these playful things, I think it's very important to do it, and so you find the right time. So to be fair, when I started doing the town halls with my staff, they were quite serious, they were quite clear. but they were intended to be calming, right? But as we slowly moved and talked about industry and shared trends and all that, then we started, making a bit of fun, kind of poking rib about my inability to use Zoom and all that kind of stuff. But not to the level, I think, where York was able to, kind of make it so interactive. Because I think we have always been used to the face-to-face because, an airline is quite front-facing, physical. So I think that transition was a bit tough for us, but I think we're now getting more used to that digital social interaction. So I'm quite keen with some of the ideas that York placed, but I do think timing is very important, and especially for the airline industry, which is going through a quite serious time, finding the right timing and balance is super important.
If I may add on one thing to this, also actually something I did not mention, but usually I would say for this type of events or you can hire like professionals, right, to do that. It's also not that everybody is just the right person. It doesn't mean if you are the CEO or manager that you can really pull this off. You need, it requires some skills and the right timing to get it done.
Actually, it's true. Getting a facilitator to inject freshness and fun, I think will probably be more impactful than getting like an incumbent or status quo person to try and shift the tone immediately, right? So yeah, it's a very good point about, if you want to do something like this, someone external, someone who's fresh and can give you a different perspective, you probably get more receptiveness as well.
Yeah, thanks for that. And Philip, also, I was wondering, as a consumer, although I'm not in Malaysia yet, what's your estimate on when things, when a lot of more flights will resume? On what percentage is Firefly operating at the moment?
We're operating about 40–50% at the moment.
Oh, that's quite good already. So that's quite
good. Because the great thing about Firefly is we're a small airline and we use ATRs. So it's quite easy to fill the plane up relative to a larger jet aircraft. And because of that, we get into this cycle where we can fill up a schedule, so we can add a second, we can add a third, and then customers like that frequency, right? Then they realize that, oh, you might as well pick Firefly because it's smaller aircraft, so unlikely to get the cancellation. So that's why we kind of have a bit more of a headwind versus maybe the larger airlines. But it's still a very tough market out there. So we are about 50%, and it is also very volatile, right? So like even in Malaysia, a slight increase in cases will also see a shift in demand and interest. So honestly, it's very dynamic. And we were just talking to the team actually about 3 hours ago, and it's like changing, by the day. So like Monday was bad, but Tuesday looked good because, the Prime Minister had made a change in requirements. So it's very dynamic at the moment, but to answer your question, we're about 40–50%. We think we'll probably hit about 75% by middle of next year.
Okay.
Philip, does the 50% also has something to do with different seating arrangements because of distancing?
No. So it's a very good question, actually. Like we had to apply like a side seat empty. But what we've done is actually there's no requirement to do that. And that's why we in Firefly decided to push very hard on the principle of fly safe, right? SAFE, sanitize, be aware of your surroundings, wear your face mask and electronic documents. Because actually, when you look at all the initiatives and things you can do, yes, a middle seat or a side seat does help, but there are much more effective measures like wearing a face mask on board. Yeah. So we call that's better way. And to answer your question, we used to have that, but at the moment we don't. So it's really a function of commercial demand at the moment.
Okay, understand.
If I may add something, personal experience to that. I recently flew a Firefly to Johor, and yes, I had neighbors, but at the same time, you could see that some rows, 2 seats were empty, and very quickly people moved to an empty row. Yes. Because people were obviously not totally comfortable sitting next to each other yet, but there wasn't enough space in the flight to do that.
We actually try to social distance you as much as possible if the flight is not full. So I'm quite keen. It's quite interesting what you said, but if we can, we will try to spread you out across the plane actually, if the flight's not full, as a guiding principle. Yeah.
Okay, good. Very interesting, but as I said, let's hope things are back to normal, hopefully very soon. I think Malaysia is doing a pretty good job Fingers crossed, yeah. A pretty good job managing the situation if you look at some of the countries in Europe and even if you look at Hong Kong, for example, and China. So yeah, fingers crossed things stay stable. Marco, do you have anything to add? I see you on video again.
Yeah, and that usually means that we're closing in to the end of the session.
Yeah, I didn't see any new questions coming up. I think we're sort of running at the end of the session.
Must have meant that, yeah, the presentations were very clear today. Gentlemen, it's also, by the way, it's quite unique that we all have all gentlemen in the panel. That will probably cause some complaints here and there, but yeah, that's just how it happened this time. And a few times with the HR forum, we had more female speakers than male. So hopefully over time, over these past few months, we've balanced it out a bit. Ladies and gentlemen of the audience, can I have a round of virtual applause, please, for the speakers and the moderator? Thank you so much, everybody. We will follow up with the audience with a few links to videos that were announced, and with the presentations, and ultimately also with the recording of this webinar. We did get a couple of messages in just now of people that couldn't make it at the last moment, but are very eager to listen to you guys in their own time later on. And yeah, that's it from this side. A few announcements in closing for the MDBC side. Yeah, we're sharing a screen again with some closing slides. Of course, MDBC will continue to deliver value to you during the RMCO period, while we're also planning our online and live events in September again, hopefully. In August, we will have 2 webinars with Eurochem Malaysia, with VIP guests, the Director General of Ministry of Health and the Minister of Finance. MDBC will also organize 2 other webinars with Eurochem, together with all the winners of last year's Europa Awards for Sustainability, and another one with the Netherlands Embassy on Agriculture. But for any future sessions of the Members for Members series, we would also like to hear from you on your preferred topics. So can we have the poll out, please, that we get some feedback on your preferred topics, please.
Yeah, because this topic came out of a previous poll.
Absolutely, and actually we have quite a few members that would be interested in the same topic to participate as speakers. So top of the line here is mobility and connectivity again, but with other topics and other speakers. And yeah, there's a few others. You can choose how many you like. And if you have other ideas, please contact us directly. We're more than happy to get your input on that. All right, let's do a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you. All right, and already on the screen, you see MDBC webinar support. We would like to bring your attention to a new service supporting your organization of webinars. Yeah, with all the experience that we've had, that we've gained so far, we feel that we can now offer this new paid service in case you require any support. Yeah, it looks like we will have to stay online a lot longer or have a combination of online and live events. For us, it's definitely been a very interesting way to also engage members in the Netherlands, in Singapore, in Indonesia and Thailand, and work on a regional scale as well. So for sure, we will continue with online webinars as well. And if you are looking at similar engagements and you need some support, please let us know. All right, also, we still try to get you moving. Yes, gyms are open, pools are open, you can go jogging again, but we still have the Move with MDBC, an app that supports you with movements of just 5 kilometers. So scan the QR code, participate, post your selfie, and just have fun with this in your own time. It's not a competition, all right? Okay, finally, we would like to thank our premium partners. Great support, guys. We really need you this year, even more so than other years. And we still welcome more advertisers, sponsors, and partners. So please contact us if you have any extra budgets to share with us and to work together with MDBC. All right, finally, we would appreciate your feedback on on these MDBC polls. How would you rate this webinar in terms of content and the technical setup and flow? Those are those two questions. And if you scroll down a bit further, please also rate MDBC, the report card, especially during this MCO period, with leading from 1 is poor to 5 being excellent. So we would really like to get your feedback on how we've been doing, and it's also nice to share, especially the answers of the first 2 questions with the speakers today. And once again, thank you all so much for participating. All right, we'll give this a 5. Give it a 5.
Thank you.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Thanks to all the speakers.
All right.
Also on my behalf as the moderator. Thank you very much for your insightful presentation and your valuable time.
Most welcome.
And the audience, of course, as well.
All right. Would you like to show the results of the last poll, please? Usually we don't have time for it anymore, but let's go for it today. All right, everybody. Thank you for your marks for content and technical setup. And definitely thank you a lot for MDBC's report card during this MCO period, especially. All right, we'll keep working hard and continue to give us your input, please. All right, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the day. Long weekend coming up. Enjoy that as well. And we see you back online in September. Sorry, in August. Thank you so much. All right, bye everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.